Do you still support Trump? Honestly, some things were okay, I can see that, but overall, I'm not really a fan anymore. Do you still support Trump? I don't know. I used to, but now, not really. Do you still support Trump? Yeah, I actually do. Some of the things he did made sense, and I like that. Do you still support Trump? Sometimes. I think some policies were okay, but mostly I'm done. How is Trump doing in office?
He's doing fine. People just complain too much.
Do you regret voting for Trump? Yeah, I do, man. I didn't think it was going to go like that. Do you still support Trump?
So bad. This is dangerous.
No. I can't support him anymore. It's just too much. How is Trump doing in office? Not great, man. A lot of stuff just isn't working. Do you still support Trump? Yeah, I think some things he did were actually good. I can get behind that. Do you still support Trump? Honestly, not really. Some things were good, but mostly I've lost patience.
Do you regret your vote right now?
Well, between him and her, I thought he was the better choice, but honestly, I miss my Uncle Joe. I was a nobody, and I was balling then. Now, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even show you $5 in my pocket.
We spoke to Trump voters here in Florida who are ticked off about the fact that the gas prices in the state have gone up by an average of about 60 cents within just a week.
I would just wish he'd keep up on his campaign promise and say he was going to put it under $3. He'd end that war so fast. But here it is, 5 years later, helping his buddy out get his more money. And then never mind charging us Americans all sorts of money for fuel that you just stole from Venezuela.
And those gas prices are getting higher because of volatile oil prices due to the war in Iran, a war that these Trump voters tell us they hope wraps up quickly.
If I could, speak to the president, I just encourage him to finish up this war and get us back to a safe world.
He's saying about for our safety, leave somebody alone, they won't bother you.
Hopefully this conflict over there will end, it's just unfortunate.
The overall vibe here at the gas pump amongst these Trump voters is they feel like the economy is not going well right now.
At the moment, I'm really out of work.
My hope is that it's temporary and it doesn't last for too long and oil prices come back down. That's my hope.
You done with Donald Trump? Would you support him publicly again?
What I will say is that he's been a chronic disappointment, and I feel embarrassed that I told people to go vote for him. I just think that the picture of politics in America is going to look very differently because of his actions. So I don't know where we go from here. I really don't. But this is not the candidate that I voted for.
MAGA supporters are still regretting day in, day out for supporting Trump. They thought it had cooled, but I tell you what, it got as red hot as the color red that Trump likes, the Republican color. And I'm telling you, the heat is so up that when everything goes red, you can't even forget about the green lights and the blue lights and the white stars and everything. It becomes a rat race. You get hunted down, not just your money, but you wonder, how am I going to live through this thing here?
Donald Trump's MAGA coalition isn't just buckling, it's literally falling apart in public. It starts but does not end with what's going on in Iran. And yes, while most of the self-professed MAGA crowd have engaged in a month-long game of follow the goalposts, from no new wars to this isn't actually a war to, well, it might be a war, but there aren't any boots on the ground, to whatever the story is that Donald Trump tweets or posts or blurts out, a significant portion of non-MAGA Trump voters are coming to grips with that particular betrayal, among others, like the economy. Just open the newspaper or drive down the street, and here's what you will see. Financial markets and consumer sentiment dropping sharply. Then there's the price of gas. We don't have to tell you, it is soaring in one direction, up, on the doorstep of spring and summer vacation season. And if you're into reading tea leaves and sneaky economic indicators, consider the state of Las Vegas. Quote, the high rollers are still rolling in, reports the New York Times. But for the tax brackets that don't usually fly by private jet, those budget-conscious customers appear to be staying away. It is a reality apparent even to prominent figures in right-wing media. Just today, former Fox News anchor Megyn Kelly shared yet another dismal and historically low poll for Donald Trump, with her many listeners describing it as a, quote, 5-alarm fire, end quote. Meanwhile, another right-wing personality, Ann Coulter, posted this, quote, watching Fox News assure viewers that the Iran war is going super well and Trump is a total stud is like watching the same network assure viewers that Dominion voting systems rigged the 2020 election and that Trump was the winner, end quote. The top reply from Marjorie Taylor Greene to Ann Coulter was, quote, Fox News is now the fake news, brainwashing boomers to support what we voted against, end quote.
What do you think is going to happen? You think we're going to be okay?
I hope so. Of course. I don't know.
Do you think about it?
I'm confused. I can't believe we went to this war. When we started bombing Iran, I was like, this can't be true.
I'm scared, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you should be.
I'm scared.
Well, it's a scary time because this is a real hot war.
That was, yes, Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn slamming Trump over his war with Iran. You might also remember that a few weeks ago, Joe Rogan said this.
But it just seems so insane based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed, right? He ran on no more wars.
So bad.
And these stupid, senseless wars. And then we have one that we can't even really clearly define why we did it.
It's just the latest in a list of MAGA media commentators critical of Trump's war. Here is Megyn Kelly.
President Trump there saying, just like the ballroom, we're way ahead of schedule. I mean, like, we're talking about American troops dying, like putting their lives at risk. It's not just like the ballroom. Like it's not just like a fun little excursion into Iran.
Look, Donald Trump has launched a wildly unpopular war after campaigning on the promise that he was not going to do any more wars.
We had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. I was the only president in modern history who did not have any new wars. No new wars. Under Trump, we will have no more wars, no more disruptions, and we will have prosperity and peace for all.
Also, this war is making gasoline very expensive. Here is a president who is doing the exact opposite of what he said he would do, making things more expensive, involved in foreign wars, pretty much two of his biggest campaign promises. The important question, though, is, are they turning on Trump because he is disappointing them, or are they turning on Trump because it's a reflection of what their viewers want? If these MAGA commentators are reflecting the feelings of their viewers, especially someone like Joe Rogan, who has millions, tens of millions of viewers, there's going to be a big problem for Trump and a really big problem for the Republican Party.
There's this new hashtag, Leaving MAGA, that is going through all of these social media platforms. And I find it interesting because in August, I put up a post saying that there was a lot of MAGA regret. And I had a lot of MAGA supporters in my comments saying, I don't regret a thing. Trump, yeah, right, you know. That regular rage baiting, angry, energy that most of them hold, right? And most of them wield. But it's very much real. And I'm going to post a lot of pictures of all of the, videos because the reality is that y'all FAFO'd, okay? Y'all thought that all of the rhetoric and all of the divisiveness that man came with somehow would not touch you. Okay, you thought that because you stood behind him, that all the stuff that he was spewing like a monkey in the damn zoo, just flinging it, was not going to touch you. And the reality is that he turned around and flung it right at y'all. And there's a lot of regret. And it's sad because he started a systematic dummying of a lot of United States citizens, meaning that his first term, he started to use a lot of downplaying rhetoric to play with your minds. He took a lot of things out of schools. They were burning books, changing curriculums, the whole 9 yards to set up the mind for what was to come, that y'all wouldn't ask the right questions, that y'all wouldn't go and dig, that y'all wouldn't understand the inner workings of the government to know that what he was saying was not possible or that it held a lot of damage. So you voted for him because you believed the surface layer of everything he said and lacked the intelligence to dig deeper and ask the right questions and ask the number one question. How will it affect you? Not who you want to be in close proximity to, but how it would affect you, your life, your economic status, your family, all of those things. So yeah, hashtag leaving MAGA. It's real. Bye. That's it.
In 2 weeks, I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote?
I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump.
I voted for Trump, and I regret it now.
As a Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Dude, I regret it so much, man.
I am regretting my vote for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump, and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me voted for Trump and have to account for that.
I regret voting for Trump.
So deeply regret my vote for Donald Trump.
I regret voting for Trump.
I was a dumbass, voted for Trump. It was the worst decision I ever made.
I've seen the light, and I got out of MAGA. A lot of us there have seen the light. We have deep regrets.
I feel guilty because I voted for Trump twice. I feel very guilty because I feel responsible. That's why he's still running.
I was with Trump for 9 straight years. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Trump.
I didn't vote for this is the new I was just following orders. You knew what you were voting for. It was about cruelty and control. Those were the two main things. You just wanted to punish people who are different than you. However, I continue to say this, one of the biggest problems in this country is that people don't care unless it is personally and directly affecting them. You knew who that man was in 2016, you knew in 2020, and you definitely knew in 2024. Personally, I will not accept anyone who is regretting their vote until you do something to help fix the mess you created. A lot of you are going to feign ignorance you're upset that you were duped. A lot of you will never admit that you're in a cult, and you won't admit that you helped cause the destruction of this country right now. Project 2025 was available to everyone. And the problem is why a lot of people are crying, mainly Republicans and most especially MAGA, because it's affecting red states. It's affecting a lot of people in red states who get government subsidies, and you didn't think it would affect you. There was literally an interview with a Trump voter who said they wanted to get rid of Obamacare, and they didn't know it was the same thing as the Affordable Care Act. It's very sad and disappointing, but not surprising. A lot of you are ignorant, hateful, and uneducated. And when I say that, I mean uneducated in the sense that you are completely oblivious to what is happening in front of your very eyes. If you want to keep supporting men who grape children, who have killed people, go right ahead. But history will not forget how you behaved, who you voted for during this time. This goes out to some of the worst podcast bros out there, especially you, Joe Rogan. You platformed that man. You knew exactly what you were getting into. You're just sad that you were duped and you feel stupid now. Oh well, deal with the consequences just like we all are right now. My mom even said this. America has to hit rock bottom before we recover. It didn't have to be this way. We told you, we warned you, and you still didn't listen, and you didn't care.
There are white people going viral right now for their regret over voting for Donald Trump. And I put that word into heavy quotation marks because I genuinely question if they even know what the word regret means. One woman in particular got on TikTok crying a whole theatrical production about how people are not greeting her with open arms, how they're being mean to her in her comment section. Lady, are you fucking for real? Somehow you are the victim, not the millions of people harmed by the very system that you voted to prop up not once, not twice, but 3 fucking times. Not the immigrants who lost their family members to deportation or concentration camps. Not the communities of color who have been terrorized by the very policies that you voted to enable. You're the victim because people were mean to you in your comment section. And this tells me everything I need to know about your regret. You're not sorry, you're uncomfortable, and you're confusing the two. You claim that you're doing the work, yet at the first sign that that work becomes difficult, you make videos crying to garner sympathy for yourself. So the emotional labor falls on everyone else again. And then to make it worse, there's a whole slew of people in her comment sections coddling her. Oh, you're such a good girl because you realize that you made a mistake by voting for him 3 times. It's so brave of you to speak up. Then, some of you have the fucking audacity to police how other people respond to this video. Specifically, the people that MAGA spent years targeting: people of color, the LGBTQ community, immigrants. You want them to welcome ex-MAGA with open arms. You want them to perform forgiveness for your comfort. The people that we should all have sympathy for are the ones who have been harmed, not the ones who do the harming and are now sad because everyone remembers. But here's the part that really gets me. Same crying video. She said she won't be voting in future elections. So instead of working to dismantle the oppressive system that you helped build, your solution is to throw your hands up and do nothing but cry online. That is not remorse. That is not doing the work. That's pandering for likes and comments to appease your praise kink. That's demanding forgiveness without actually earning it. Look, if people want to coddle ex-MAGA voters, that's your prerogative. Nobody can stop you for handing out participation trophies. But if you are an alleged regretful MAGA, do not expect anyone to forgive you. Do not expect a warm welcome. Do not expect marginalized communities to throw you a fucking parade. Do the fucking difficult work. Sit with your discomfort. Sit with the fact that people are rightfully angry at you. And sit with the fact that your regret doesn't undo any of the damage that you caused. The only way you will maybe, and that's a big if, be welcomed back into a society that is rightfully skeptical of you is if you spend the rest of your life proving that you are worth redemption. That means voting for progressive candidates who actually want to help people. That means showing up to protests. That means putting your fucking body on the line. That means doing the hard work, even when nobody is clapping for you. Otherwise, save your fucking tears and go cry about it in your journal.
I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but a lot of people are saying they're leaving MAGA now and they're angry at Trump. And I'm like, why all of a sudden they're talking about the Iran war and Trump getting involved? Some people are complaining that the groceries, inflation, gas prices, the economy pretty much has not improved like Trump promised. Day one, he was going to lower everything, make all your dreams come true, all the bullshit. So a lot of people are realizing that the economy is not improving. I mean, I don't know what you MAGAs do when you go to the grocery store. You look the other way, pretend that the prices aren't going up for the most things, the most items. A few items have gone down, but not significantly where you can say, wow, I can really feel in my wallet that things are improving. So I guess the last straw for MAGA was the war. That Trump might be getting into a war and MAGA can handle it, can stand it, because they don't want another war. And Trump promised no wars. But you MAGAs were okay when he said, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Jimmy goes to school. 4 days later, he comes back with an operation and he's now Julie. All these lies, you guys were okay with it. So you're okay. I mean, you're leaving MAGA. You're abandoning Trump. You're mad at Trump. But you're still racist? You're still homophobic? Xenophobic? You're still enjoying seeing immigrants being deported, families separated, people crying on the streets because their family are being torn apart, and you guys are, that's what I voted for. So you're leaving MAGA with all that baggage, right? So you're not changing. You're the same. It's just because you're mad at Trump, right? You're not realizing, wow, I was in the cult. Wow, I can't believe that I had that perception against the LGBTQ. So you're not acting like that, right, MAGA? The thing was the war. Oh, and the grocery price is not going down, but the war did it, right? Everything else, you're going to take it with you. You're going to still be you. Yeah, no, that's not going to fly.
Somebody, please explain to me, who raised these people? What the fuck is wrong with them?
We are huge Trump supporters. If you didn't get the email on Monday, you're safe. And I'm like skipping down the halls, right? I get to stay. Wednesday, late afternoon, I received a notice that I have an appointment, a Teams appointment with my supervisor on Friday at 9:00. So I knew that I wasn't safe anymore.
You were skipping down the hall. You were so excited when you thought you were safe. You knew others were suffering and gonna suffer, but you knew you were safe. You were cool with it.
Cutting costs and waste and fraud and. We love that big picture. I love that big picture. My friends, we were excited about that because it is true.
I could just picture you and your friends, glasses of cheap fucking wine, just laughing over others and how others are gonna get affected.
The common theme is, we voted for this. You knew this was coming, but we didn't. Like, nobody that I've talked to understood the devastation that having this administration in office would do to our lives, but other people that we love and care about too within the Mid-Ohio Valley.
It's only when you're affected that you actually feel bad about something. You don't have any regrets for everyone else. It's that you got affected. You're despicable. You're disgusting. How does it feel?
It's hard. It's wrecking.
Good.
We voted for Trump because he promised while he was campaigning like a million times that when he got into office, he was going to bring down prices, bring down grocery prices. The inflation has been high ever since COVID, and he promised he would bring that down. But it's obvious to me now that that was not true. Egg prices have skyrocketed. The bird flu is killing all the birds, and he doesn't seem to be doing anything about that. He's stopping disease communications from the disease centers in America, pulled us out of the WHO. Like, how does that help anything? And yeah, all he's been doing is taking away rights and freedoms, or trying to. He's not doing anything about the economy. So yeah, we totally regret our vote at this point. We've had a really tough time here in North Carolina. Half of my house got washed away in Hurricane Helene, and I applied for FEMA assistance and we got approved. But now Trump is canceling FEMA and emergency assistance to people. He's also canceled Medicaid for my children. I know they said they put a halt on his freezing of the funds, but the Medicaid portal is still not working, so we can't access anything for our children's health insurance. So a lot of people are shocked.
I just want to come on here and make a public apology. You guys, I regret my vote. I regret voting for President Donald Trump. April Fools, I can't even say that with a straight face. Did you really think I would get on here and say that? Nope. MAGA all the way, baby.
Every American that's having trouble with this, I am sorry I voted for him. I regret it with all my heart. I feel like I've enabled this monster to destroy democracy, destroy everything that is good in this country.
We've got a very crazy man driving the train, and he's going to kill this country.
And Anthony, are you voting a straight up and down Democratic ticket?
Not only there, I am actually for the very first time contributing across the board, across the country. And I've never, ever written a check or spent any money on anything political because I'm afraid. I'm afraid.
I've been a lifelong Republican since the day I turned 18. For the first time in my life, I'm going to vote a straight Democratic ticket. Is if they're connected to Donald Trump, they are not connected to me.
So you now are no longer a Republican.
I am not, no.
Because of Donald Trump?
Because of Donald Trump. It was no longer the party that I joined. It's morphed into something that's almost unrecognizable.
You were a lifelong Republican.
Right.
If somebody had told you, say 15 years ago, that you are preparing to vote a straight up and down Democratic ticket in the midterms, you would have said what to them?
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
So why are you now doing it?
To see Republicans not stand up to him, and the ones that do are just quitting.
I just think there's no values left anymore. There should be values. We have no values. He doesn't have any values. I thought he had values.
No, I'm definitely voting Democrat. I've been knocking on doors. I got a clipboard.
You're even canvassing.
I am canvassing for a Democrat
That's
in
how
Wyoming.
strongly you feel.
I believe hardly anything the president says, but I do believe he's a danger to this country and to our democracy.
Oops. Almost like we weren't lying to you. But I'll say this, even though I will never forgive them for what they've done. And look, my forgiveness has no bearing on their life whatsoever. I'm glad to see that at least they are taking a proactive stance with this. Like, I fucked up. Now I need to put my boots on the ground and help make this better. And if you are any one of those people who is sorry for what you've done, if you're sitting back, staying quiet while democracy falls, just remember this. We know who you are. will remember what you did. And if the last thing that you did was vote for this man, that's how you'll be remembered. Now, if you go out and you start campaigning for real candidates who care about the people and you take proactive steps to make a change, that's how you'll be remembered. Owning up to doing bad shit is really hard. Trust me, I know. But you'll get a hell of a lot more respect than the respect you have now, which is zero.
Don't listen to the Democrats. I promise you, not a single Republican is regretting voting for Donald Trump. I've been seeing this weird rhetoric all over my For You page over the past couple of weeks because I think that like a lot of you guys are starting to watch Candace Owens and her podcast recently. No, we don't. 100,000 fucking 52%. We do not regret voting for Donald Trump.
Au contraire, I've come across at least 50 videos in the past 20 minutes just looking briefly of people who regret voting for Trump and who regret MAGA. Candace Owens being the #1 culprit in this is hilarious to me, and this made my week, especially since tomorrow is Juneteenth. And I have to share it with you guys because they're now regretting it, and too little, too late.
I never thought that I would see a day where I would be rooting for a university above Donald J. Trump and his administration. But I don't recognize his administration right now. I don't recognize what's happening. How could Trump be such a free speech enthusiast and allowing these things to happen?
Stupid bitches get stitches. Y'all hoes better quit playing with me.
I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes!
Beyond betrayed. They used us. They
We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace. He promises peace, not war.
Wow. The pressure is getting worse.
So bad.
You voted for Donald Trump.
I did.
Do you regret that vote?
Yes, I do.
If you could say anything to President Trump now, what would you say?
I expected that you would do what was right doing that. You're creating a disaster, and I don't know what America's going to look like if this continues.
They took my wife.
This man who wished not to be identified says his wife is from Venezuela and has lived in...
So I regret my vote for Donald Trump. I regret it because I needed the prices to go down sooner. So that I didn't drain out my bank account.
Not clicking. What's not clicking? What's not clicking?
People are crying at ICE for doing their jobs. They're intervening with ICE doing their jobs. That's why they're getting shot and killed, rightfully so. Both of those deaths of whatever their names were could have been completely avoidable. Probably better off without them, regardless. And yeah.
Let's go ahead and focus in on one of the 3 citizens who has been murdered by ICE, and that will be Alex Preddy. So first, you made a very bold claim. A man lost his life, and I think the world lost a good man. And your takeaway is we're better off without them, and that the shooting's justified. So Emily, tell me, what is the legal standard that authorizes an LEO and engaging in the use of lethal force ending the life of an American?
I don't know. Go ahead and tell me.
If you don't know the legal standard that justifies a shooting, then why the hell are you sitting here saying the shooting was justified?
I think it was justified because of his actions.
Perfect. What actions?
He went with a gun, did he not? Did he not have a loaded gun?
Yes, he did have a gun on his holster, but you should know that in accordance with the 2nd, 4th, and 14th Amendment, merely being in possession of a firearm does not authorize an LEO to literally shoot and kill you.
You're gonna go to a protest with a gun and a cop sees it as you're harassing these ICE officers that are getting threatened every day? Dude, it's not even a Republican thing, a Democrat thing. It is a common sense thing. It is a common sense thing. I would never, CCWs, I understand. I would never bring a gun to any Trump rally, anti-Trump. That is just not, it's just not a smart thing to do. That's why you end up dead.
Okay, condemn Kyle Rittenhouse.
Kyle Rittenhouse? What?
He brought an AR-15 to a protest, remember?
I'm saying I don't know Kyle Rittenhouse situation. It was a big story. I don't care. I don't know what happened. Don't think he's a bad kid. I'm glad he's not dead.
Wait, Emily, this doesn't make any sense, because earlier you said the world is literally better without Alex Preddy because he brought a gun to a protest. Now you're saying that you don't think that Kyle Rittenhouse is a quote-unquote bad kid, regardless of the fact that he brought a gun to a protest. So what it seems like is that bringing a gun to a protest is not the relevant factor here that leads you to the conclusion that Alex Preddy was terrible and we're better off without him, and Kyle Rittenhouse is not a bad kid, but rather political affiliation.
I don't give a shit because he was a loser, and his life didn't really have much meaning, and it sure doesn't matter to me.
So just to clarify, you think that a nurse at a veterans hospital who helped save the lives of those that were willing to lose their lives for us in war, protecting our Constitution, our inalienable natural-born rights, is a f***ing loser doing nothing productive for society, right?
Yeah, just because you're a nurse does not mean you're a productive member of society.
MAGA regret is a trend. And just like buyer's remorse, I anticipated that this would happen. There was no way that people willingly made this decision and they were actually fully educated in their decision. They considered all options. They considered all possibilities. They considered the impact that this could potentially have, or they even glanced at 2025, Project 2025. They didn't. And so some of this was about, and so I get it. Do I feel like the government entity as a whole might not always benefit the American people? Yes, I do think that. Do I feel like sometimes politicians trump regular average people like me and you? Yes. Do I think that people attach themselves to the idea and concept of the fact that a billionaire could potentially run America better than politicians? Yes. And I think that what people did was attach themselves to the dream that they could potentially have access to that amount of money, that they could potentially get into this environment where Trump was going to change the status quo of how we live, how we eat, how we breathe, how we operate as a country, and how the government operated specifically. I think that he led with that because that was the emotional appeal that he could attract so many different people. Even after he disrespected so many different nationalities, said so many different offensive things, has been in very compromising situations when it comes to women as well. Y'all still voted for him. And so now I'm starting to see all these videos that are, it's like a trend where it's like MAGA regret. And so there's all these people that are going through the reasons why they are regretting voting for Donald J. Trump and how they didn't understand that whatever decision making he was going to make, that it would impact things that are so closely related to what they need, what they depend on, what they do on a daily basis, maybe even their employment, their livelihood, the employment, livelihood, and dependency of their loved ones, whatever it is. I stand in solidarity with the 92% and say, we told you so. And the thing that I'll continue to say and scream to the mountaintops until I can't say it anymore is the hate of the black woman is so strong that you will willingly sign up to jeopardize your livelihood, your normalcy, the livelihood and normalcy of so many other people, your ability to live comfortably. You would give all that up versus allowing a black woman to be in charge. The funny thing about all of this is America knows it more than anything that black women are the most powerful people on this planet. And the problem with that is if we allow the black woman in the White House, we empower black women across the world to stand flat-footed, take charge, and start running things everywhere. We'll start to see a movement. We'll start to see black women rising up in all types of leadership positions. We'll start to see those timid black women, they'll find their voice. They'll find their power. They'll find their strength. But they don't want that to happen. That's a movement that they want to prevent as much as possible. But 92%, I know we got something brewing. I know it's coming. Just wait and see, babe.
So I have just come from yet another video where a creator was discussing the topic of Trump voters, 3-time Trump voters who regret their vote. And she was just discussing the topic of forgiveness. And if you watched her whole video, which really wasn't that long, it was like 2 or 3 minutes long. That's really short for me, at least. Her point was, right? Like the argument she was making was you do not have to forgive them. Nobody is saying anybody needs to forgive them. Nobody is saying that. That was the point she was making. And then, but I go to the comments
And it's like hundreds of comments of people who very clearly did not watch the video. And all they did was hear her talk about 3-time Trump voters and say she wanted to talk about the issue of the topic of forgiveness. And all these comments are like, nope, never. I will never. No, stop telling me to forgive someone. I can't believe that you like, what? That's literally the opposite of what she was saying. And it's that I keep seeing this. Like it's driving me so crazy that there is so much energy being spent on the resistance to forgiving these people that nobody is being asked to forgive when, like I've mentioned many times before, there are still a lot of people who have not even reached that point yet, who are still full blown in support of Trump. Why are we arguing about whether or not to forgive people who have finally seen things the way that we've been begging them to see them? When in reality, all we need to do is just ignore those people, give them space to do whatever, show us that they've really seen it or not, whatever. Just don't engage with them when we still have a real issue to focus on, which is the set of people that are still 100% living in a different reality. It's like we have this reality that we're living in, and then there's this other reality that MAGA lives in. And there are these people that are like trickling out and kind of into our reality. And rather than letting them do that, we're all standing here like, get the fuck out. We don't want you. We don't want you. We don't want you to vote with us. What? Like, nobody's telling anybody to welcome them with open arms. Nobody's saying to forgive anybody for any harm that's been done. No, why would anybody? And listen, if there's people who are asking for forgiveness, that's different. But I haven't seen that yet. I've seen people coming out on here publicly talking about regretting their vote. And maybe that's pissing some people off. Maybe because they're like, why are you on here, looking for forgiveness? But maybe they're just sharing their journey. And if that bothers you, maybe just don't engage with the content. Maybe just move on, because there are still people who are actively doing harm right now. So it's not, I think that why it drives me crazy is that it's not about forgiveness. And I don't know why it's being made into that conversation, because clearly nobody needs to forgive anybody. When there's still a very present threat, danger. I don't know. I don't know. I'm seeing so much of it now. And I know that it's partly because there are so many people coming out and regretting their vote. And I get that. And maybe that's pissing people off. And they're like, wow, really? Now you're doing that? Fuck you. But I really wish that we could remember that we have bigger problems. And it's people who still think that way. The people who are starting to come out of thinking that way are no longer the problem. Doesn't mean forgive them, welcome them in, befriend them, or trust them again. But it just means, okay, that's one less thing to worry about. And if you don't trust that they've really changed their mind, or if you think they're still going to vote the other way, then don't engage with them anyway. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe people think that doing this behavior is the way to get, I don't know. Because if it were me and I was in that really weak, vulnerable position psychologically where I'm deconstructing things and changing my mind, and all of a sudden I had all of these people that were originally telling me to change my mind now telling me it's too late, you might as well just stay brainwashed, I would be like, oh, okay, I guess I will. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
PSA. MAGA supporters who are now regretting their vote. We don't care. What you need to do with that energy is you all form an alliance, right? And then you guys go and fight for what you know is right. But don't expect any flowers or a particular take parade because you guys have now come to your senses, right? Because your marbles was all thrown over the floor for the past, let's just say years. So if you are now a MAGA supporter and you know you made the wrong decision, Baby, don't cry to us. Don't expect us to take you in with love. Don't expect us to just forget the fact that you voted against us, right? Because you need to now do some self-reflection and ask yourself why you voted against yourself, okay? That's it.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.